day began pretty much the way every day begins for me. However, what would change, what would be distinct, was my final destination. The journey back home would be filled with what should have beens and what could have beens, but one issue was certain. There would be an ending. There would be a resolution. There would be a return. The dog watcher, Sorry, called to say she couldn't pick up my miniature fox terrier, Tosca, because she lost a Pomeranian in her toilet. Sorry? No, I'm sorry. What the hell kind of name is Sorry, anyhow? Anyhow, what to do with Tosca? Couldn't have him running around pissing on everything. So I just stuck him in the oven. I mean, not with the heat up or anything, but it would have been easier to clean up all his crap if it were all in one place. After the dog situation was resolved, I had to deal with transportation. As usual, my car wouldn't start, and my credit card was maxed out, so I couldn't rent a car. Although I had to travel about 600 miles, my only viable choice suggested borrowing the tricycle from the kid down the block. It would be a bit of a drag, but I figured there'd be lots of Dairy Queens along the way. I'm a sucker for Dairy Queen. Plus, I could use the exercise. I didn't have an incredibly close relationship to Pinky, as my mom called him. Pinky was my stepfather. His real name was too hard to pronounce. Pinky worked as an assistant manager at some fast food joint. At least that's what he claimed. Out of respect for my mother, I agreed to take a 5-day leave from the Ubaki towel factory. Mr. Ubaki, a half-Polynesian, half-Czech flight school instructor, inherited the company from his maternal grandfather in 1964. Ubaki's grandfather supposedly died in a mysterious garbage-related accident. Some people claim that Mr. Ubaki shoved his grandfather into a dumpster so he could get the towel business. You don't know me, but you do know my work. I'm Inspector 42. I'm the guy who makes sure your towels have the proper thread count and don't smell too much like the people who sew them. I did catch this one Canadian fucker rubbing her armpits on some of our Rainbow Island variety towels once. I got promoted for turning her in. The last thing I remember about Pinky was the time he tried to race himself around the high school track. That's when my mom began to suspect something was wrong with his head. I knew he was nuts when he tried walking to Portugal, disguised as Mother Teresa. When I finally got to my hotel room, I was told it was booked. Some kind of knitting convention or something. So I ended up having a crash on top of my trike. The town itself was pretty much the same. My best friend, whatever a best friend is, Johnny Lowe, still lived with his parents. He had dreams. I mean, we all had dreams back then. But Johnny wanted to be a used car salesman. Kind of a strange dream for a kid. He never really got his dream, though, because he opposed the idea of sales tax. Johnny wasn't without a possible shot at sticker shocking. Lucky Fritz Knauer, over there at Shamrock Acura, gave him a chance to sell cars. But when the first sales opportunity came up, Johnny couldn't close the customer. He wasn't willing to discuss the sales tax. Then, of course, I'd probably see my sister Luann. That's if she decides to show up. She has something against Pinky. Said he tried to touch her in some inappropriate way when he was teaching her to floss. I don't know if I really believe it. Pinky was too much of a dork to try something like that. Luann also claims that she had an affair with Franklin D. Roosevelt, and he died about 30 years before she was even born. So much for Luann's veracity. Mom will probably be the same, making pies and acting like we're all normal and everything. Since my last visit home, my mom had taken up a pretty interesting little hobby. She takes plaster molds of her girlfriend's private parts, then gives them to the FedEx guy for Christmas. Seems like it's a win-win situation for everyone. Only Marge Brantley, who has this annoying habit of turning statements into questions, like, I don't own any mutual funds, threatened to sue Mom because the plaster dried too fast, forming what Marge described as a damn uterus plug? Well, it's almost time to put Pinky down there in the ground with the other worms. They say it's illegal to bury someone in your backyard, but Mom wants to save money. Can't say that I blame her. They wanted like $5,000 for a headstone. Now she can use the money for something more important, like a new fridge with an ice maker in the door. Mom didn't want to pay extra for Pinky's funeral, and who could blame her? I mean, not having to go to the store every time you need to stick some ice in your margarita is a pretty damn convenient thing. I suggested we scatter some of Pinky's shit in the creek near Mom's house. You know, kind of a symbolic send-off for the pathetic little weasel. I'm sure that's what he would have wanted. Maybe I should have stayed home. Perhaps I should have told Mom that I had too much on my plate. Oh well. What's done is done. And in Pinky's case, well done. Forgot to mention how the little sucker ate it. Committed suicide with a flaming fondue fork. His forks are pretty small, but I guess it worked because he croaked about 30 seconds after piercing his scrotum. Shoot, I didn't even know Pinky had a scrotum. Just shows to go ya. I guess Pinky was okay. Never really bothered me too much, except the time he tried to hawk some junk bonds on me. Wonder what Mom will do now. Well, like I said, the journey would be over, or will it? One guy dies and another one's born. How did the world change because of Pinky? Is it a better place, or is it the same? Oh well. Gotta get back home. Gotta check out my new edition of Towel Inspector Weekly. Gotta get ready for work. Gotta clean all that crap out of the oven.